Good morning students, welcome to the class of financial markets and services. The topic which we are going to study today is theories of the impact of financial development and the saving and investment. So students, moving further, till so far we have talked about the savings, we talked about the investment, we talked about the financial institutions, financial market, financial services as well as financial instruments. Now there are some theories which are actually important to go further in this subject. These are the theories which are proposed for the saving and investment, theories which impact the financial development. These theories are given by the this savings and the investment. These are the 5 theories. First one is the classical prior saving theory, second is credit creation theory, and the third one is forced saving and inflationary financing theory, financial regulation theory and the liberalization theory. One by one we will discuss these theory. First theory is, the name itself suggests, the prior saving theory. Prior saving means you are saving earlier, means starting your savings. Prior saving theories actually emphasize that before investing anything into the market, it is important to save the money, and for the save the money you are supposed to have income. When you are having income, the saving is a part of that income which is unconsumed. When the amount is left out and the money is not being utilized in the consumption, that time it is known as the saving, and the saving is the prerequisite of the determinants and it become the determinant for the investment. This is the first step, that you are supposed to save your money and then only you can make the investment. It is just averse of the inflation. Inflation means when your money value is decreasing your money value, means when you save your money, when you are keeping your money with yourself and you are not putting your money into the market, it means this is idle money, this will not return you anything back. But when you are keeping your money into the bank account, that time the bank will definitely give you interest, and with this interest you can somewhere you can cope up with the inflation. So actually this is known as this theory is inflation averse, and it advocates the control of the inflation. Now we will discuss about what this theory suggests. This theory suggests the policy of reasonable high positive real interest rate to encourage savings by the public. People only invest when they will get the good interest amount on their deposits. If they will not get the return on their deposit, then the people will not go for the investment, or they will not deposit their money into the bank account. So it is very important to give the good return, good interest rate, so that the people can feel motivated for investing. Financial institutions promote development by offering the following transformation services. These are the 4 basic transformation services of this saving theory. First one is the liability asset transformation. See, when we talk about the liability, this thing is always in our mind, that liability is a burden for the company and liability we are supposed to pay back. But when we are talking in terms of the bank, means liability are deposits, are savings. When we deposit this money with the bank, these deposits become the liability for the bank, and their asset is what they are giving in the loan. It is just opposite to the individual balance sheet. In the individual balance sheet, the cash in hand or cash at bank, whatever money you are having, whatever assets you are having, that is your assets. But when you are taking the loan, when you are when you are creating your creditors, that time these are your liabilities. But in case of the bank, it is just opposite. Your deposits become their liability, because they are supposed to pay it back and they are supposed to pay interest on that, and this assets is which they are giving in the terms of loan. When they are this financial institutions or banks providing the loan to the individual, to the government, to the corporate, to the companies or any firm or any organization for the business purpose or for the development purpose, or any requirement if individual is facing any kind of financial assistance problem, so they provide the loan. This loan is actually the asset of the bank. So there is a asset liability transformation. Why this? They are actually deposit is their liability. This, when we are depositing money into the bank, this is their liability, and this liability they are supposed to turn into the asset. How they will turn this thing into the asset? Because they will buy this deposit, they will actually issue the loans to the different required area, and this loan become their asset. That why it is being called the asset liability, liability and the asset transformation. Next come the size transformation. What it means? Size transformation means what, how much money you are investing, what is the value of your money, and for how many duration you are putting your money into the market. So it depends upon totally upon the investor for what money they want to invest into the market. Risk transformation, by the different modes of the investment, because so many investment avenues are there, like you can save your money, you can invest into the debt, you can invest into the commodity, you can invest into the different securities, you can invest into the gold, you can invest your money into the real estate. There are n number of avenues are available. In short, we can say that you can invest, you can prepare your portfolio according to your risk bearing capacity. What is the risk bearing capacity? Means if you having sufficient fund and you are very keen to earn more and more return, your backup should be strong, your risk bearing capacity should be high. Means if you can bear the risk, then you can raise the more and more return. So for more risk, for more return, you need to take more risk. So you can choose the risky investment which are directly associated with the market conditions. So if you are not that much risk taker, so you can, what you can do, that you can choose the safe things, or you can choose the safe investment avenues by which your interest would not be affected, by which your purpose would be solved and your money would be safe. So the thing is this, that for the investment, for making any investment, you need to be risk, you need to know the risk, actually what is the risk associated with the particular investment. So you should be prepared to take your calculative risk, for which you can bear the loss also, that then only you can take the risk. If you are able to pay that or bear, you are ready to pay, bear that particular risk, so you should be prepared only for that. If your ability is not that much, so if you are seeking for higher return and you are choosing the risky investment, but your capacity is not that much, if risk would be arise there, if your return are zero that time, if your return is zero, then that time it is always suggested that please diversify your investments, please diversify your money into the different option. By the diversification, you can actually save your money. Maybe there will be a investment avenue which is giving less interest to you, or is not performing good, but there would be more investment avenues where you have invested earlier which are giving you good return. So there will be a compromise between these two things, where on one investment you are losing your money, on the other hand you are earning good. So the thing is, how you are doing the transformation of the risk, and this transformation of the risk can be done only by the choosing different investment avenues or making your portfolio. The next one is the maturity transformation. For how long duration you are investing into the market, why your saving is into the market, you are maybe you are planning to withdraw this money after 1 year, maybe you have a plan to withdraw this after 2 years, or maybe you have a long term plan. So it is just up to you and up to the saver for how long duration they want to invest into the market. Now the second theory comes, that is credit creation. The term itself clear that credit creation is what? When you are creating credit. Creating credit means what? The demand deposits are an important constituents of the money supply. See, in the previous lectures also I have explained that when you deposit your money with the bank, it is actually their liability, and by this liability they transfer this thing into the asset. Why they are high, how they are converting this? Because they are providing the loan. If deposits are not available with the bank, then they cannot pay the requirement of the loan, then they cannot give anybody any kind of loan, they cannot provide. So this is the very first thing to create the credit, that deposit, demand deposit should be there. And expansion of the demand deposits means the expansion of the money supply. When demand deposit will increase in the economy with the bank, then only the supply can be increased. So the entire structure of the banking is based on the credit, and credit basically means the getting the purchasing power now and promising to pay it afterwards. What is meaning of credit? Means you are purchasing the commodities now and you are promising it to that you will pay after some time. That we are using the credit system like credit cards we are using, we are purchasing the things, we are doing the shopping today and we will pay after 50 days or within the 50 days we will pay it back. So this is actually structure which is planned by the banking sector to increase your purchasing power and you pay after some time. What it means? That bank credit means the bank loans and the advances. All banks keep certain part of these deposits with the minimum reserves to meet the demands, and deposits and lend out of the remaining to the earning income. See, why bank need to keep the money with them? Because they are supposed to meet the daily requirement. It is known as the working capital. So if working capital is not sufficient, then they cannot pay the other demand, they cannot pay other expenses also. So it is very necessary for them that keep that money with them, and rest money they invest into the other investment avenues to generate the profit, because they are also supposed to pay you interest on your deposits. The loan is credited to the account of the borrowers. Every bank loan creates an equivalent deposits in the bank. Therefore, the credit creation means the expansion of the bank deposits. These credit creation is the expansion. If you are creating credit, if you are giving more and more loans to the public or to the company, to the corporate, to the organization, or maybe to the government, that time what you are doing, you are expanding your bank deposits. Now, there are two terms is being used in this slide, that is, one is the liquidity and other one is the profitability. What is the liquidity meaning? Liquidity means that when you having sufficient fund and you can meet with your daily requirement. And what is the meaning of profitability? Profitability means when you are putting your money into the market to get the more and more return. So in the detail, the bank must pay cash to its depositor when they exercise their rights, demand cash against their deposit. Whenever customer turn to the bank, whenever customer visit to the bank, if they are seeking the money, if they want to take their money back, or if they are withdrawing, then that time bank should have the sufficient fund with them so that they can meet the requirement of the customer. And what is the profitability? Profitability means the bank are profit driven enterprises. Nobody in this world is here to sit quiet. They are doing work, they are earning, they are investing, and they are getting return. Just this is the same thing, same example for the banking sector also. They are working for the more and more return to generate more and more income, by which they can actually provide the interest to the depositor, they can meet their daily requirement, they can meet their working capital and their other expenses also. So what is this profit driven enterprises? That they are earning regularly. The main task of the bank is only to earn the profit and serve the society. Therefore, the banks must grant a loan to them in the manner that higher interest than what it pays on its deposit. So when you are supposed to pay money to the other person as a interest, that time you should invest your money in such a way that your income is high, the revenue should be high. If you less the expenses from your revenue, expenses is what? Your expenses is when you are giving interest to your depositors, then there should be some money left out for your business, for your benefit. So what it means that when you are investing into the market, you should invest with the high interest rate, and when you are taking the return, when you are taking it back, you are supposed to pay to the depositor also. That time you should have something in your hand. It doesn't mean that you are spending all the money with the depositor, you are giving all the money to the depositor, but you should maintain this thing that your liquidity and profitability should be maintained. There is a thing that if you are maintaining the liquidity, you cannot maintain the profitability, and if you are maintaining the profitability, you cannot maintain the liquidity. So there we can explain this thing by the graph. See, this is your liquidity and this is your profitability. What it means, this is the intersection point, where what you are supposed to maintain in your organization at the bank, because when your profitability is high, your liquidity is less, but as your profitability goes down, your liquidity increase, and when they intersect with each other, this is the perfect time, this is the perfect place where you are supposed to maintain your balances. So if this profitability goes up, then liquidity will goes down, but we are not supposed to goes down in terms of the liquidity, and we are not supposed to go up in terms of the profitability. We are supposed to maintain an equilibrium point where we can meet the daily requirement as well as we can get the return also. There are the basic concept of the credit creation, how the credit creation is being done. This is actually done by the banks and the business institutions. Banks is actually working as a business institution here. What they are doing, they are depositing, bank deposits are there. Two type of deposits are being done with the bank. One is the primary deposit, other is the secondary or derivative deposits. Third, we'll talk about the cash reserve ratio, that is CRR, that a bank need to maintain with them. The current CRR is 3% currently, and bank are supposed to maintain this balance, and this balance is supposed to give to the RBI, and they cannot use this money with the within the organization, and they cannot use this particular CRR for their economic transaction, for any kind of expenses they cannot use it, but they are supposed to maintain that balance that is required. Excess reserve, what are the excess reserves? Means your reserves are exceeding beyond a limit, and this credit multiplier means you can actually create a limited credit. It doesn't mean that you are continuously you are giving the loans and continuously you are creating the credit. There is a limit for that also. We'll go in the detail. The primary deposit is what? This deposit arise or formed with the cash and check deposit by the customer with the bank. When any customer come to the bank and when they deposit their money with the bank in the form of cash, or maybe they are depositing their money in the form of check, that is actually creating this is known as the primary deposit. When the person deposit money or check with the bank, will credit his account. When you are depositing your money with the account, that they show in the passbook that this account has been credited with this amount. So what it means, that this amount is a liability for the bank. The customer is free to withdraw this amount whenever they feel like, or whenever they want to withdraw this money. They want to withdraw by the cash, or they want to take it by the check, or they want to make any kind of payment by online method, they can use it. These deposits are called the primary deposit or the cash deposit. Why is it so? Why we are calling it primary deposit? Why we are calling it cash deposit? Because this is the very first thing. Very first thing means the primary deposit are being done by the saving of the savers by the deposit of the public. When public is depositing their money with the bank, then only these things are formed. So, primary deposit means when the money is being transferred to the bank account of a particular person, and when you deposit your money with the bank. It is out of these primary deposit that a bank makes loan and advances to its customer. Only by the help of this primary deposit, the bank can actually perform their rest of the task. The initiative is taken by the customer themselves in case the role of the bank is passive. If you want to withdraw your money, you can withdraw your money whenever you feel like to withdraw. This is the benefit of the primary deposits. So, these deposits are called the passive deposits. Now, we are coming to the derivative deposit. What is a derivative deposit? Bank deposits also arise when a loan is granted or when a bank discounts a bill of purchase, government or securities. What it means? Deposits are also arise. How you are arising the deposit? That when the loan is granted to someone, when you are granting the loan to the government, to the organization, that time you are also making the deposits, but it is not the primary deposit. Deposit which arise on the accounts of granting loan and purchase of the asset by the bank is called the derivative deposit, because you have derived this money by providing the loan. Since the bank play an active role in the creation of such deposits, they are also known as the active deposit. Why? Actually, bank is very much interested to give loan. That's why you have heard about that there are number of banks, number of public bank, number of private banks are there who are asking their sales executive, asking their financial executive to sell the loan. Actually, this is the loan is their product. By selling this product, they will earn more and more, the bank will earn more and more return through the interest. So, that is why it is being called the active deposits. Now, the third theory is talking about the forced saving. What is the forced saving is? Investment is not determined by the saving. In this theory, this theory is explained about that the investment is not derived by the saving. Investment can be increased autonomously through monetary expansion. When you are creating a monetary expansion with you, then only you can invest your money. It is not necessary that by the saving only you can invest your money. Channel through which monetary expansion affect the economic growth. You search the different channels by which you can actually your monetary expansion can affected by the this economic growth. If the resources are unemployed, if we would increase aggregate demand, output and the saving. If resources, what are the different channels? These are the channels are like when you are, if resources are unemployed, when your resources are not being utilized, when your resources are idle, when you are not utilizing your resources in the sufficient manner, it would increase aggregate demand, output and the saving. So, there are two types of effects are there, that is the portfolio shift effect. If resources are fully employed means when you have allocated your all the resources, you have allocated your all the money into the different sectors and you are earning properly, that time that is known as the portfolio effect. What is the income distribution effect? Increasing savings through profit. They are actually income distribution effect talks about the increasing saving through the profit. How they are increasing the income? Through the different mode of profits. This is the inflation tax effect. Inflation tax effect means how you are doing, how the inflation is being affected by the tax, or tax is your tax is being affected by the inflation, and what is the inflation rate in the current situation. So, these are the points which talks about the force theory. As a sum up, we can say that this force theory actually focus on the investment rather than the saving. Saving alone cannot perform good. If you save your money and if you are keeping your money with the bank only, then it will not give you the sufficient return. But when you are putting your money into the different option, spite of different risk, or whether you are risk averse or you are risk taker, when you are investing your money and you are making your portfolio, then only what you can do, you can earn, you can do the more and more saving. Moving to the next theory, this theory actually basically what is financial regulational theory. What is the regulation? Means some guidelines or some rules are there. So, financial markets are prone to the market failure. It is very much affected by the market failure. If anything happens into the market, immediately this will affect the economic growth of the country. Certain forms of the government intervention are required. See, when there are no rules, there are no regulation, and when there is a liberty is there, so nobody is taking care of the rights or the interest of the investor. So, that time the government should intervene in some portion or making some guidelines, should make some guidelines to save the welfare, to save the investor interest. So, the lowering the interest rate through governmental intervention improve the average quality of the pool of loan application and improve the efficiency of the capital is allocated. What it means? That you are cutting down the interest rate. When you are cutting down the interest rate, because government is making guidelines, you cannot charge much interest, you cannot charge the interest according to your own wish. So, when government is intervening, they are maintaining that this interest rate should be charged. Direct credit programs can encourage lending to the sectors which is usually shown by the market. This direct credit programs can encourage lending sectors. How? Because when you are providing direct credit, then this sector can be enhanced. Government intervention provide that public goods and the stable payment system. This is the only government who made the rules and regulation or provide the guidelines also. Earlier also I told you that there is RBI is there. RBI means the central bank is there, who are making guidelines for the banking sector. SEBI is there, who are making the guidelines for the security purpose, for the security investment. When you are investing your money, it is saving the interest of the investor. This is the last theory of today's lecture, that is the financial liberalization theory. What is the financial liberalization? Means increase in the interest rates on a variety of financial assistance as they would adjust to their competitive free market equilibrium. What it means? When you are increasing the interest rate on the variety of financial asset. What are the different financial assets? Different financial asset means what are the different instruments, different institutions which are giving you financial services. Financial assets means you are taking the financial assistance, and by this you are actually investing your money into the different financial asset. It is like your equity is there, when you are investing, your stocks are there, equity and the preference shares, and this bonds are there, your debentures, means the primary market and the secondary market. Okay. It would adjust the competitive free market equilibrium level, because when there would be a liberty for the investing your money, then there will be a equilibrium point. Increase in saving, reduction in the holding of real asset. Increasing saving, how it is possible? Reduction in the holding of real asset. When you are holding the real asset, that will increase your savings. The increase in the financial depending and the expansion of the supply of the real credit. What is this supply of real credit? Means you are providing the loans, it should be expand. Increase in the investment, investment should increase. When investment is increasing, then only the market will get the sufficient fund and the supply would be good in the financial system. Increase in the average productivity of the investment. Increase in the average productivity means when you are investing your money and your return is your investment is giving you good return, wonderful return, then only you can increase your productivity. Increase in the allocative efficiency of the investment. See, whenever you choose any option for the investment, it is always necessary to choose it with the very wisely and take the decision very confidently. So, the thing is this, when there are n number of rules and regulation provided by the government, and when you know how to save your interest and when you know how to actually invest your money into the market, so you can choose the best investment options and you can increase your allocation and you can actually effectiveness would be there then. So at the end there is a sum up of the we have discussed so far. We have discussed the theories of the saving and investment, the prior saving theory, credit creation theory, forced saving theory, inflationary theory, and this liberalization theory and the regulational theory. In these theory we talked about the saving and investment, and this theory basically more or less the crux of these theories are that you should invest your money, because saving is not only sufficient to increase your effectiveness and productivity of your fund. It is always good to opt the good option of the investment. For these book is available that you can go through this Alam Bhole book, and you can write me also if you having any queries. If you find any difficulty in this topic, you can write me at meenu.balian@ims.ac.in, and you can ask me your queries through the mail. With this, thank you so much.